What's up guys, Coach Az here. I got a comment on one of my videos recently. This video was how to get rid of your fear of sparring. And in this video, I talk about the reason that we feel fear in sparring, and I gave some advice on how you can respond and how you can develop it and get away from having that initial fear when it comes to it. And I got this really interesting comment, so I thought I'm going to share it with you guys and I'm going to respond to this one in this video. Great video, mate. With me, it's more the fear of hitting someone clean. I'm always happy to go light and technical, but I find as soon as I connect with someone lightly, they come back extra hard. I get caught loads, and I really mean loads in sparring, but I never take it up a notch because I know that they will come harder and harder, and more likely it's me who will end up hurt. Don't get me wrong, the guys I spar with are great and in control, and they try to offer advice too, so I always feel safe in terms that they are not out to kill me, but they are also a lot better at me, brackets Muay Thai, that's the discipline he practices, and I take so many hits over 10 round sessions. I want to go back hard, but I'm bloody scared to do it. Can you offer any advice on that front please, mate? I spar roughly 15 to 20 rounds per week. Thank you, mate. Thanks for the comment, dude. Really appreciate the love on the last video, and I really tried to sit down and think about what you were saying because it really resonated with me. I think a lot of people who hear this are gonna feel very similar, and I can talk from experience on this one. I had a guy I used to go spar with, and it was exactly that. We'd start light and technical. I'd hit a bit harder, he'd hit a bit harder, I'd hit it. Before you know it, it was crazy. And I likened it to like a game of Jenga. You know Jenga with the little wooden blocks, and you take turns pulling one out. And what happens as you play Jenga, the longer you go, the more unstable the structure becomes, and eventually one of you pulls one out and the structure collapses. And that's basically what would happen with our sparring. Our sparring would start very technical, and technical, we'd still go, we'd still throw with some speed, throw with some power, but then one of us would catch the other clean. And you mention it right at the start of your comment. You're like, when I catch someone clean, then they come at me. So what's happening there, and what used to happen with us, is the ego gets triggered, right? You get God, I can't speak today. You get caught with a clean, straight cross, and it bounces your head off a little bit. The instant response for so many people is, I got to get that one back. Yeah, I can't let this guy, especially if you're considered the less experienced or the newer guy, or maybe you're the lighter guy. They can't just let you have that one. And that's just the nature of the game, I guess, right? They can't let you have that one, and they feel like they got to then come back at you. So they come back on hard, and if they are more experienced, they know that they've got a few more gears. So let's say you're both operating in like second gear. I'm going to wreck this analogy. You step it up to third or fourth and you start getting some shots off. They know that they can go to 5 and 6 where maybe you can't. And you know that they can go to 5 and 6. So you elect not to initiate in that in the first place. You'd rather keep it, let's stay at 1 and 2 because we can both hang there, than me offer you any kind of challenge. Because if I offer you a challenge, I know you're going to respond in kind. So I just really understand how you feel. In terms of advice, because you want advice on how to move forward with that. It's a really tricky situation, isn't it? Because you're happy to go light and technical, but we can all appreciate, especially if you are trying to truly develop the ability to fight, that there is a place for a harder, more intense level of sparring. It is good to experience that. You don't want to do it regularly. You don't want to spend an awful lot of time in that realm, but every now and then I think it is essential for anyone planning to compete, especially to go there, to feel that and to experience it. So my advice is, I guess, is sometimes you're gonna have to go there knowing that that's going to happen. But I wouldn't do it every time. I wouldn't feel the need to. But I would take certain days where you're feeling pretty sharp and feeling on it to allow yourself, because you're going to get taken then to the next stage. And until you experience often enough someone at those higher gears, that 5 and 6, you need to see that stuff in order to then develop the ability to respond to it. Now, you say you get hit a lot in sparring. That tells me that you need to sharpen up your defenses. You need to spend some time, when we're talking out of sparring here now, drilling, etc., working on your footwork, working on your guard, working some back and forth drills that focus primarily on your defense, your head movement, your footwork, your guard placement, all of that stuff. Because if you're getting hit a lot in sparring, and you're acutely aware of it, like you say, you mention it, so you're aware that you're getting hit, you know it, and you obviously don't want that to happen. You need to work on those tools. Being able to obviously, attack is the best form of defense. That's what we hear a lot. If you're strong on your attack, you don't give them the opportunity to get their attack off. But again, when we go back to that analogy of the gears, if they know they can take it somewhere where you're not familiar with, where you haven't got that level of experience, then it's going to be a little bit different in that situation. So work on your defenses outside of that realm, in technical sparring, going really slow. Get a few partners to attack you and you just practice defense. You can't throw back. No counters, no throwbacks. Just work on footwork, head movement, guard placement. Then work some rounds, you don't even need to tell the partner about this, or you can do, where you want them to initiate, them to put the pressure on. They're coming at you and you focus on being a counter fighter. You focus on drawing your attention into making them miss and making them pay. And then understanding that if it ramps up, that you've got to ramp up to match that, to be able to keep that footwork up, keep that guard going. I would also advise you to watch my video on bad sparring partners. And I'm not telling you that anyone in your gym is a bad sparring partner. You make the point of saying that they're not. But in that video, I talk about the importance of communicating. And I think it's really important to communicate within a round. Because when it happens at the start of the round, it's pretty easy. Because you're both starting. So if it's like the first punch thrown, you could be like, whoa, mate, sorry, can we go a bit lighter? And they're like, yeah, fine. And then you level the playing field. The problem with the whole Jenga experience is it's gradual. So over 3 minutes, whatever your sparring rounds are, that gradual ramp up, people don't notice it. This is why a coach is so important to have in a room. I don't put all the responsibility on my guys to control it, because I understand that it's almost impossible. Like, it's all nice and well and good to say, control it, and everyone to go, yep, we'll control it, right? But once you're in there and one guy hits a bit harder, one guy gets a sharp shot off, and one guy lands a head kick, and one guy gets a sweep, before you know it, you're basically fighting. You're in there, you're having a fight instead of a sparring match. And this is why a third eye is really important, because I have it with my guys where I'm like, good kick, and then the other guy comes at him and I'm like, calm. I'm the voice in the room that's trying to separate them from the strong ego. So I'd always say, make sure the coaches are around and doing that. Again, I'm not going to try and badmouth your gym or anything or say they're doing anything wrong, but that's a thing. Ask your coach to watch a sparring round so that they can be there as like the third eye. You're not asking them to like tell the other guy to calm down, but just say, coach, can you watch me spar this guy and see what's happening? And then they probably will. Just tell them, take it down a notch, keep it controlled, stay in the moment, don't get too carried away with it. But then also, after these rounds where these things happen, where it goes up those few gears, I would then talk to the guy afterwards. I'd be like, mate, not complaining, just letting you know, I just can't handle it when you take it up to that level. That's where you want to seek advice. You want to say, what is it that changes? What do you change, if you don't mind sharing it with me, that I could have handled the first 2 minutes, but at that point after I caught you with that shot, you ramped it up and I couldn't see the shots, or I didn't know what you were doing in terms of setups, and see if they're willing to divulge. If you're in the same gym, then more than likely they're going to share it with you and show you what it is. And then, the other thing, man, is it's just a gradual process, innit? You didn't speak about how long you've been doing it for or how much you've been training, but I gather from it that you're training with people that are quite a bit more experienced than you, and that's just part of it, right? They've got these levels that they can take it in sparring more than you do, and they're nice enough and they're good of them that they take it down to match your level. But when you try to ramp it up, they can always ramp it up a few gears above you. That's just the nature of the beast. Big thing is for you is not to get discouraged by that, because you're probably still making progress, but they've just got so much above you that although you're progressing, they've still got this advantage on top of you. Don't let that make you feel too dejected or too beaten up, because that's nothing to do with you not progressing, it's just them. The only thing I'd say, and you seem to be aware of it, is about taking headshots, taking too much damage in training. That's something you do need to be really conscious of. That is something that you want to minimize. And as well as, obviously, like we said, work on your defenses, keep working on your sparring, spend most of your time being technical and only a little bit of time pushing the envelope in terms of what you feel you can handle. But you do still need to openly communicate with your partners and be like, mate, that's too hard. Even if it is towards the end of the round, they need to hear it, and we need to really work on as a culture. And I think Muay Thai, I love Muay Thai, I really do. But I think Muay Thai has a real culture for this tough man persona thing, and it's part of it in terms of what makes you a great Muay Thai practitioner. Liam Harrison's one of my favorite fighters, and he's just the embodiment of just the immovable object. He's just hard as nails. But I think as we learn more about things like CTE, brain damage, all this trauma that comes from sport, we do need to, as a community, find a way of practicing it safer, so that we can all do it for the long term, and we hear less and see less of these stories of people getting, having slurred speech, unable to put sentences together, ending up like the way I seem to be in this video. I apologize for it. Guys, I hope that's been helpful to the Baldy Head. Great name. I hope I've helped you out a little bit, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep working on your sparring. I'm sure it's only going to improve. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the next one. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.